Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Nix, your intuitive coach and energy alignment mentor, and this is your weekly energy update where we track what's moving through the collective field so you can move with it instead of against it. Now, we are 1 week out from the total solar eclipse in Leo, and if last week felt like walking through a threshold, this week is what happens when you're standing within the passageway or on the other side of it, still finding your footing, still processing what you've moved through or what's moved through you, still feeling the shift in your body. And honestly, it looks like the cosmos are reflecting just that this week. Mercury conjuncted Jupiter in Leo at the end of last week, August 15th. That's the new story finding its language. Bold, warm, expansive communication. Whatever is transforming inside of you right now is essentially looking for words, so let them come. Then on August 17th, we have two very different energies landing on the same day. Mars in Cancer squares Neptune retrograde in Aries. That's drive meeting fog, action meeting uncertainty, the desire to move forward, hitting a wall of confusion. But on the very same day, Venus in Libra sextiles Jupiter in Leo. So that's relational warmth, social ease, an open heart being met with expansion. Those two energies coexisting on the very same day is very much the texture of this week, the tension and the grace, the fog and the light, both real and very much present. And then on August 22nd, that closes out this week, something significant happens. The sun reaches 29 degrees in Leo, the final degree, and conjuncts the south node, a last reckoning with Leo, with old Leo patterns, if you will, the ego performance, the seeking recognition, the self-expression that performs for the room rather than speaking from the heart. And then the sun crosses into Virgo. Leo season ends, Virgo season begins. We go from being seen to doing the work, from the stage to the refinement process. But then just ahead, we've got the lunar eclipse in Pisces on August 27th, 28th, the final eclipse on the old Pisces Virgo nodal axis. That's a 2-year chapter completing. Eclipse season is not done with us yet, but we'll get into that more next week. Now, the cards always have something to say, so let's dive right on in. As we're always, each week we move through 4 cards. The first one speaks to the energy of the week. The second one tells us what's being asked of us. The third one highlights the energy center calling for our attention. And the last one tells us how to hold and integrate it all together. So first up is, we've got the butterfly Metamorphosis card 22. This is the energy of the week. Now, honestly, after everything that we've just walked through, Barbeau's basket, the lunar node shifting, the total solar eclipse in Leo, this card arriving as the energy of this week feels like an exhale saying, look at what just happened. Look at what you just moved through. Look at what is now emerging. That's essentially metamorphosis, right? It's not some dramatic announcement. It's not a sudden leap from one thing to another. It's a quiet, cellular, irreversible transformation that has been happening inside the chrysalis far longer than you may have realized. And now the wings are forming. And some of you can probably feel that. It feels like we've just entered a new frequency with Barbeau's when Barbeau's basket began, or what it began, that collective shift in consciousness and direction, that was amplified by the solar eclipse threshold that we literally just crossed last week. And now we're inside this bubble of that supported change. The cosmos has done its part. The invitation has been extended. The door is very much wide open. And now it's on us, individually, personally, to embody the growth, the evolution, the changes that are happening both in our inner world and in our immediate outer worlds. Now, regardless of where you are in your journey, this card is speaking to you. So if you're at the beginning of a new path, if you've just crossed a threshold you've been standing at for months, welcome to the other side. If you're concluding a long road and still holding on to some old habits, some old mindsets because you're not quite ready to let them go or can't see that you can, take this as a gentle, firm hand on your shoulder saying it's time to do so and move. What was cannot remain as it was. What is becoming is truly for your benefit if you work with it, right? And for those of you who feel like the window of opportunity is closing, the window is still very much open right now. There is still time to step into your alignment, still time to choose yourself, still time to fight for yourself. But this energy carries the feeling of like a last hurrah, not to scare you, but more so to motivate you. The collective is shifting. We are being encouraged to shift with it. And I'm not saying that at any point in time in your life that you cannot seize the moment to choose yourself. However, what I am saying is that the energetic climate currently encourages and supports it. So why not take advantage of the intensity of that energy while it's still of that favor? Change can be good, right? Evolution can be the very thing the very blessing even that you've been praying for. So trust it even when you can't see what's on the other side, especially when you can't see what's on the other side, because trust is all you've got. Trust, faith, hope, belief, all that stuff, right? Now, what's being asked of us? So we've got the new moon in Scorpio energy, and it's asking us to work through our fears. Okay, I feel, if I'm correct, this specific card actually came out during the Leo season forecast reading as well. So this doesn't feel accidental that it's showing up here again. There was this sense of fear that I felt whispering off in the distance at the tail end of the butterfly card connection. So I guess it needs space to clarify. So here's what happens at the climax of a pivotal moment when you're standing right at that door, the one that leads to the path where things finally are feeling different, are finally moving, are finally, like, they're just finally different. That's exactly when fear usually gets the loudest, right? And with Mars square Neptune this week, drive hitting fog energy, that fear essentially has a cosmic amplifier on it right now. The desire to move forward is strong, but there's this uncertainty about what's actually there when you do. And that's equally as strong. So what do you do with that? Use it as a compass. Ask yourself, what specifically am I afraid of? Is it the turbulence of the journey itself? Is it the repeated cycle of taking so much action and doing so much healing and still not moving from where you've been standing? Is it not being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel? Is it the fear that after all of this work, it still might not happen for you? Now, those fears are valid, okay? There is no denying that, but fear and doubt cannot occupy the same space as belief and forward momentum. You cannot be connected to the energy of it's not going to happen and also attract the energy of it's happening. They cancel out each other. So use the fear as intel. Ask it what it's doing for you and then challenge its response by taking the shimmy forward. Anyway, even if a full step feels like too much, the door is open. You don't have to lead through it, but you just have to move towards it. Move forward. Move forward. Now, the energy center, I have this itch, it's irritating. The energy center calling for attention this week is the heart chakra, and the card is perception. Now, visually, we see this young woman in a beautiful blue and yellow dress standing in the garden, a butterfly flying just above the back of her head, two birds, one on a branch, one flying just in front of her face, another butterfly floating just beneath her right hand, it looks like, and then above that butterfly, a glowing, floating, I think, emerald stone. She is surrounded by life, by movement, by beauty, in motion. So I feel like what this card is asking with Venus, sextiling Jupiter, and Leo this same week is for you to embrace the opportunity to transform, to lean into the change rather than to resist it, to keep your heart open as you move through it. See, what's available to you right now is an ability to attract wealth into your life during this transformational period, not just monetary wealth, whatever wealth means to you. Love, career, opportunities, time freedom, health, connection, clarity. The doors for that attraction are open, but you need to open your heart to see that you can walk through them and then proceed to walk through them. What closes the heart, right? Fear, contraction, the decision to go back to what was rather than trust what's becoming. Your perception card this week is asking you to change the lens, to see the moment not as the chaos that it may appear to be, but as the recalibration that it actually is. What was is no longer for you. What is becoming totally is. So follow through with whatever is before you. Trust your progress. No matter how big or small, fast or slow it moves, ask yourself one question that I keep coming back to this week. How good will you allow yourself to feel? How much of that abundance that is trying to reach you will you actually let land, okay? There's a richer experience that awaits you. The perception shift is the doorway to it, essentially. Now, lastly, here's how we're going to hold all of this together. Self-exploration, real self-exploration, not the surface level kind, not the kind where you journal 3 bullet points and call it inner work. I'm talking that raw, messy, liberating process of actually figuring out who you are outside of all the noise, outside of all the roles you play, outside of every story someone else has been telling about you. Now, this topic came up in conversation with a client this week. So many of us have lived our lives on someone else's terms, in someone else's perspective of us, through someone else's criticism, filtered through someone else's version and energy layered on top of our own. And we've let those external points of views, the projections, the judgments, the expectations dictate how we stand in the world, how we posture, how we move, and who we believe we are. I'm speaking generally here. Now, however, it's usually not until something cracks open, a major life transition, a period of drastic change, intense growth, or loss, a solar eclipse that illuminates exactly who you've been performing as, that we wake up and ask the question, who the fuck am I? Outside of all of that. Now, with the sun entering Virgo on August 22nd, Virgo asks that question, but with precision. Virgo doesn't do surface level. Virgo wants to refine, to discern, to get precise about what's actually real versus what's been assumed. And with Virgo season debuting at the very end of this week, this is the perfect week to begin this self-exploration in its most honest form. So I posed a question to the same client that I want to leave with all of you. What do you think your life would look like and feel like had you spent the majority of your previous years living for yourself, actually getting to know yourself, your passions, what awakens you from the inside, what you actually want rather than what you were told you should want and who you are? How do you think you'd see yourself right now if that had been the foundation? Because whatever's on the horizon, and honestly, it generally does not feel small. But whatever it is, it requires you to know who you actually are when you walk toward it. The relationship with yourself is the foundation for everything else. When that relationship is solid and loving and honest, everything else clicks into place with more ease. So know yourself, build that relationship. It's the most important work you'll do this season, okay? Now that is your energy of the week from August 16th to the 22nd. Now just a reminder, on the 22nd, the sun crosses into Virgo and Leo season officially closes. So if you feel the shift in energy that day, you're not imagining it, honor what Leo season asks of you and welcome what Virgo season is bringing. And just ahead, we have the lunar eclipse in Pisces that arrives the night of August 27th into the early hours of August 28th, depending on your time zone. The final eclipse on the Pisces Virgo nodal axis. That's a 2-year chapter completing, remember? So eclipse season has one more thing to say, and like I said before, we'll get into all of that next week, so drop into the comments if you will. What is the one thing you're seeing differently about yourself or your life since the solar eclipse last week? Even if it's small, especially if it's small, I want to know. Now, to my subbies, thank you for always coming back and for your continued support. And if you're new here, welcome. So happy to receive you. You found this channel during eclipse season. That is not a coincidence. So please hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. And if someone in your life is standing at the edge of their transformation and needs permission to finally step through, send this to them. The butterfly card here is speaking to them specifically. So until next week, take care of that beautiful energy of yours, and I will see you soon. Actually, I'll see you on Thursday for Virgo season's forecast. Okay, bye!